Okay. Okay. This third group covers women's empowerment through agriculture for inclusive rural development in developing countries. We have three parts: overview, case study, and summary and conclusions. Bugingo will start overview part.
Morning, colleague. Morning, professor. My name is Bugingo from Rwanda. Our topic is women empowerment through agriculture for inclusive rural development in developing countries. In the developing countries, the empowerment of women is crucial for achieving inclusive and sustainable development. Women constitute a significant portion of rural population and plays a pivotal role in agriculture, which is often the primary livelihood source in those communities. Women empowerment through agriculture on inclusive rural development in developing countries. To begin with, women empowerment in agriculture entails their access to resources, knowledge, and decision-making process. In many developing countries, women face numerous challenges such as limited land ownership, unequal access to credit, lack of training and education, and social norms that restrict their participation in decision-making. Unequal access to credit and lack of training and education. However, there are many ways to overcome those barriers so that women can play a vital role in harnessing the full potential in agriculture. First, we have to enhancing women access to productive resources such as land, water, and input. Land tenure reform and legal framework to promote gender equality in land ownership and inheritance rights are essential. That will help to provide women with access to credit, financial services, and input like seeds, fertilizers that can play significant improve their agricultural productivity and income. Secondly, we are to empowering women through education and training. That will help to ensure the access to quality education for girls and women, especially in rural areas. It is vital for building their skills and knowledge in agriculture through training program on modern farming techniques, sustainable practices, and entrepreneurs that can equip women with necessary tools to increase agricultural productivity and diversify their income sources. Furthermore, promoting women participation in decision-making process is paramount. Women should be included in agriculture, cooperative, community-based organization, and policy-making bodies so that their perspective and experience must be recognized and valued to ensure inclusive development strategies that addresses their specific needs and challenges. For that, there are several means that can benefit of empowerment of women in agriculture. It can contribute to food security and poverty reduction. When a woman have access to resources and decision-making power, they can invest more in their families and nutrition and education for their children, leading to improved food security and overall being in rural communities. It can enhance growth and sustainable development. Increased productivity and income for women farmers result in higher household income, job creation, economic resilience. So, empowered women will act as role model and catalyst for change within their communities. It can promote social equity and gender equality. It can challenge traditional gender roles and stereotypes, fostering a more inclusive and just family. Empowered women can influence social norms, advocate for their right, and contribute to the broader movement for gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then next part is case study, which covers 4 countries: Bolivia, Azerbaijan, Laos, and Tanzania. So Madeleine starts with the case, with the Bolivia case study, please.
여러분 안녕하세요. 안녕하십니까, 교수님. We'll continue with today's topic for our group. So the empowerment of women in Bolivia's rural areas is an important topic in the country, and various policies, programs, and projects have been implemented to empower rural women and improve their living conditions. The role of women in marketing systems and fairs is prominent, but however, depending on the sector and the activity, they are divided by family roles that can be done by men, women, and children. In Bolivia, I want to mention some areas that the work has been done. For example, one is the access to education. Programs have been implemented to ensure equitable access to education for rural girls and women. This involves building appropriate educational infrastructure and improving the quality of teaching. Another point for the women's empowerment in rural areas is the economic strengthening. Training and technical assistance programs have been promoted in areas such as agriculture, livestock, and craftsmanship to help rural women to develop skills and knowledge that enable them to generate income and improve their economic conditions. Political participation and leadership measures have been implemented to foster the active participation of rural women in decision making at the local and national levels. So has been as well has providing training in leadership skills and strengthening women's voices and political representation. And access to healthcare to improve the rural women's access to healthcare services. Campaigns on specific health issues affecting women, such as gender-based violence and reproductive health, have been also conducted. Promotion of women's rights. Efforts have been made to promote gender equality and combat violence against women in rural areas. Awareness campaigns, training in human rights and gender, as well as the implementation of laws and policies that protect women's rights and promote their empowerment has been carried out. In Bolivia, we have the comprehensive law to guarantee women a life free of violence in Bolivia that aims to establish mechanisms, comprehensive measures, and policies to prevent, address, protect, and repair women who experience violence. Autonomous territorial entities will also allocate resources to implement policies and programs against gender-based violence. And the law is governed by principles such as living well, equality, inclusion, dignified culture of peace, despatriarchalization. So these principles aim to guarantee equal rights and eliminate forms of discrimination and violence against women. So, in general, poverty, and in this case, rural poverty, has decreased in Bolivia, but the difference between men and women remains significant. For example, in terms of access to financial resources, women now account for 39% of borrowers at the national levels. But in microfinance institutions, where loans are smaller, women constitute 72% of the borrowers. This is because of there are a lot micro entrepreneurships. And last point, in terms of land ownership, there has been significant increase in the issuance of property titles to women after 2001. And now, currently, 46% of land taxes of the beneficiaries are women. So we can see that there has been advancements in poverty reduction and access to resources for Bolivian women, but the inequalities still persist in terms of income, economic participation, domestic work, and access to agricultural property. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. Okay, next, move to Azerbaijan. Would you please, Mahir?
감사합니다, 교수님. As you mentioned, I'm gonna be talking about bring up the topic in my country's case, in Azerbaijan. Especially about the farmers, women farmers, those who work in agricultural fields, what kind of obstacles they have come across, what steps and approaches are being carried out to overcome it to cope with getting worse and support farmers in terms of providing them with their needs for better crop. Empowering rural women through agriculture has great potential in Azerbaijan, as according to the State Statistics Committee of Azerbaijan, 77% of women reside in rural areas, and the percentage of female entrepreneurs engaged in agriculture, forestry, and fishing is higher than of men, 30% and 24% subsequently. However, women face a number of challenges, such as the gender pay gap, the informality of jobs, triple work burden, housework, working on households production and wage work, and poor access to social services, hindering them from leveraging their full potential. In total, women do an average of 6 hours of unpaid work, while men spend 2 hours on the same. Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, FAO, plays an intermediary role between female farmers and state and private service providers. The main goal is to bridge this so that will help women to learn about free advisory services, soft loans, and other services. To keep up the momentum, the FAO project mobilizes rural women's groups and has already succeeded in connecting over 100 female farmers from 20 regions in Azerbaijan. As part of this network, communicates with other members and shares farming knowledge via a mobile messaging application. Let me read the interview which was given by a farmer wherein she shared her impressions. Olga Babayeva, a 52-year-old farmer from Samukh region in northwestern Azerbaijan, is a well-recognized businesswoman in her community. Apart from being the biggest producer of vegetable seeds for onions, coriander, dill, radish, and parsley, among others. She is also known for her strong support of women's engagement in farming. Her impressions. I'm so happy to be a part of the big change ahead. I'm grateful women are not alone and support is there. Women and girls deserve fair opportunities and treatment, and once financially stable, they will have a stronger voice to be equally recognized. Through this project, FAO is working with the government of Azerbaijan to better respond to current and future challenges in the agricultural sector, engaging women as key to making the sector more productive and inclusive. So I'm going to be talking about the local project, which has been carried out agro procurement and supply open joint stock company, wherein I used to work, which is called AFAG. It's translated Agro Action of Azerbaijani Women. The purpose is to increase the activity of women who are engaged in agriculture and support them as agrarian entrepreneurs. AFAG project is implemented, as I said, by Agro Procurement and Supply Open Joint Stock Company and Pasha Holding. The project will facilitate women's access to information, knowledge, and other opportunities to develop their agricultural-based business activities and improve the social well-being of themselves, their families, and rural communities. So, briefly, I want to tell about their goals. The main goals of the project are as follows. Creation, strengthening of the institutional base for the promotion of entrepreneurial activity of women in agriculture, improving access to information, knowledge, and markets for agricultural women, increasing job opportunities for women living in rural areas, promoting employment, encouraging women to start, manage, and entrepreneurship in agriculture, developing women's skills in business, marketing, and e-commerce, increasing the number of businesses managed by women in the field of agriculture, creation of a group of farmers consisting of women in the agricultural field, environmental protection to ensure efficient use of natural resources. So as it said above, the core of the project is to improve housing conditions and ensure food safety in the village through the development of economic opportunities for women has been implemented for 2 years and is related to state program of increasing employment and entrepreneurial conditions for women in Azerbaijan. The program for the development of women's economic opportunities includes increasing their competitiveness in the domestic market, ensuring equal economic opportunities and rights, as well as resource management and technical assistance. As part of the project, visits have been made to various Azerbaijan districts. As a result of these visits, an increase was recorded in the number of women employed in the agricultural sector and the number of requests in this regard. So during these visits, more than 500 meetings were held with women, where it was investigated what kind of production women farmers need and what funds are needed for this. As a result, until the end of 2021, about 200 Azerbaijani women will be provided with certain technical equipment and training to continue their activities and entrepreneurs in agricultural sector. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayer. Okay, next, Ulysses will introduce the case of Laos.
Thank you, Professor Sin, for great opportunity. Hello, everyone. My name is Vilaysak. I'm very happy to be here to share with you what we are discussing about the women empowerment through agriculture. for inclusive rural development in the developing country, especially in our country, Laos. When we talk about the women, for myself, I always think that it's about inequality. Inequality because based on my experience, I was born in rural area. Many tasks is based on women. Kind of household work and many responsibility in house is depend on women. So this topic is very interesting for me because especially developing country and also Laos, our economic growth is depend on agriculture. So Lao government is recognize that agriculture and forestry sector is one that significant to it contributes to poverty reduction. And also women, especially Lao women, play important role in agriculture. And like my colleagues mentioned, they mentioned about the inequality, and also because of that, based on UNDP report about gender equality strategy 2022-2026. In Laos, even the Lao government is very promote gender equality, but however, women still work hard for spending time more than men, especially in agriculture work. It's mentioned around 7 hours per day. Compare men, it's only 5.7 hours per day. So this number it shows us that women is always working hard more than men. So. In our country, the government set the one union called Lao Women Union. This union is payroll very significant to promote, especially they give the information educate to the people, especially young people, to know about the equality. Not only men to become leader, but both of them, women and men, can be leader. So this topic can be especially in agriculture, like the aging, or we are talking about the climate change. For each of us that have to become survivor is based on food. So agriculture is a very significant sector for living. So what our government, especially Ministry of Agriculture, did in year 2002, we are conduct many training to the farmer, especially the women. This I will share to you some training. Like, for example, in training about agriculture and forestry production, such as the cultivation, livestock, fishery, irrigation management, and in year 2022, they have done in total 247 times, around 41,500 participants, including women around 5,401 participants, or it's a 13%. And the other program also. This is supported by government and NGO as well. So what these numbers show us that what the government do is try to communicate and make comprehension to both the gender between men and women, because to contribute to develop economic is not only men and women, so both of them is very significant. So I will share to you this. Finally, I will sympathize again that both men and women is significant. So we have to say that in the future, we cannot say that who will be the leader. Both of them can be leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next, Alois will introduce Tanzanian case, please.
Thank you, Professor. My name is Alois Mdenye from Tanzania. Thank you, my colleague, but I will proceed for Tanzania case based on the topic Women Empowerment Through Agriculture for Inclusive Development in Developing Country. First of all, because here we are concerned about agriculture. Based on Tanzania is about 7% of the population the people who are engaged or fully employed on agriculture. But also when we are saying is about in food security is about 80% the food produced in the country, depending from small-scale holder farmer, based on National Bureau of Statistics. And who people, this 80%, other people who are coming in this rural place. So that means when we refer about rural development, that means we are referring about the food security of the nation. We are referring about economic growth, because if you have 7% of the population employed in agriculture, that means the sector, if you want to invest and to move your people from poverty, there is no way you can invest in any other sector more than agriculture. So for the context of Tanzania, agriculture is a vital pillar for economic growth, because as you see, I said, 7% of the majority, they depend from this agriculture, but 80% of what we are producing is coming from rural community. So that's why, but in rural community is where the women is about their the labor or cheap labor they are offering there. Majority is the women, but they are not recognized their effort. That's why you see, even when you go there, you can find still the men are dominating the economy, but they are not there. And even sometimes because of the agenda, they cannot access land, credit, technology, so there's like they are discriminated. So gender norms, sometimes these cultural barriers, they are hindering them to contribute as much as they can, so that for economic growth of the country. So for the as a country, of course, despite of this challenge, this which are facing, and this is not only for Tanzania, I think for most of this developing country, the country also have did some initiative, but first I can mention this initiative. First of all, also to include or to mainstream this gender issue on our national agricultural policy of 2013. Also, we have initiative. We say that Kilimo Kwanza or First Agriculture First initiative, so that to put these women or rural community women in front in participation in all aspects, from accessing credit, technology, decision making. Because sometimes if you are not involved in decision making, sometimes is because whatever you are planning or you are trying to do something, it starts from decision making. So if women, they will not be much involved in decision making, to get that changes will be very, very difficult. Also, also the government, they've been making more effort in women agriculture to make sure that women are participating in agricultural cooperative, which is very, very important platform because where they can get this access to all credit, technology, so that to support agriculture. But some of these initiatives, some have succeeded, but some are not, till now, not well succeeded, because as you know, still now people, especially for this developing country, some they can't believe, like, how possible women to own land like 2,000 maybe hectares. How can you give? But for if you are a father, you have a daughter and son, to give that land to your son is possible. But to women, you think it twice. she's able to do anything on that land. So due to that cultural barriers, it's very, very difficult for women to own and also to contribute much on production. Also, I want to share about how this empowerment, if we can promote the empowerment, what to gain in inclusive rural development. First of all, as I said, because most of the labor provided by women, so it's automatic increase in agricultural productivity and food security, because this is where the population is there. So if they'll be engaged much in access to loan, technology, market, access to land, I'm sure the production will increase and even the country can move very fast to economic development. But also poverty reduction, because despite of their saving there for labor, but they are suffering from poverty. That's why the rural community, they are producing about 80% of the country agricultural produce. But in a rural community where you find the majority of poverty. So if this empowerment can be succeeded, or we can give equal platform for women and men in rural community by supporting them in every aspect, so we are going to reduce poverty and also to enhance economic growth. But also because, you know, women, they are being there also for family. So once they have income, that means you are going to improve nutrition and healthy outcome to the family. Also, we have this, because the gender issue or about empowerment about women, in a document all these things are written, but when you go to reality, how the best practice, that's where we find the problem. You may find something is written maybe in a policy, but are these things working? It's still a challenge. So in documents, sometimes you find it, so that's why we find this policy gap. It's like institutional support or policy implementation gap. In documents, sometimes it's written, but the best practice is they are not implementing maybe to assist this kind of group on accessing all those, as we mentioned, about technology, access to land because of cultural beliefs and all barriers. So for a country to grow, especially for this, I think for all these developing nations, I think they're experiencing the same problem like Tanzania. I think we need to rethink how about this institutional arrangement can support on policy implementation to make sure this group of women, they are moving forward as other group like men, the way we access land, the way we access technology, but because of gender, they are not supposed to be to have limitation on some access. Also, for future, how like Tanzania we can move on that where we are now, because still this is a problem. Despite, as I said, of good policy initiative they're taking, but now I think we need to change our way of thinking. Like I said, and my colleague here said, in the case of their country, everything starts from decision making. If we will not give the chance for these women to be part of decision making, that means we'll be living there at the back in every aspect. Yeah, so for the future or whatever, now we are doing this policy adjustment and reviewing, we need to reconsider this so that we can take this so serious, because majority our economy or our for developing country to grow, majority they're employed in agriculture. And if you say agriculture, we are referring the rural development. where they're producing. So there is no way we can prosper to become a developed country without investing or keeping the friendly environment for rural community to grow. And when you refer rural community, women is there. So I think we need to change this thinking so that to give equal chance for this group so that we can attain sustainable development in this developing country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alois. Leslie, Nguyen will conclude this third group talks.
Yes.
So even if it is mainly about some lessons from Vietnam, so I think it can be classified as a conclusion part. Okay, please.
Thank you, Professor, give our opportunity to discuss about this topic because our women empowerment in agricultural sector pay attention in my country, also other countries. I have opportunity to work related to gender. I will share the case of Vietnam for this topic. Let's talk about the role of women in our agriculture sector. Women play a significant role in the agricultural labor and agricultural activity. According to the statistics from Vietnam, the proportion of women in agricultural labor and production post-harvest activity range from 20 to 70%. And until now, my country tried to encourage women participate in our activity in agriculture with over 60%, particularly with the development of export farmer, which is associated with a growing demand for female labor. It requires giving right ability to women access to education, information science, technology, and extension service and health service to improve women asset ownership and control of economic and natural resources. The case of Vietnam about the problem current situation. Women spend most of their time on housework, take care of children and family. They can access agricultural production. One of the reasons are based on farming practice and culture. Because in my country, men are the economic, earn money in the family, make decisions in family, especially in the rural area. They still are biased about the woman. And the women farmer account for the large proportion of agricultural labor. They own small area field and cultivate self-subsistence crop. The women more vulnerable than men to hunger and negative effect of environmental damage caused by unsustainable agriculture. Women have limited right to inherit, access and use land and other productive resources, leading to smaller production when compared to that of men. Difference in yield between men and women in agriculture reduce significantly when have equal access to resources. Women have some struggle to participate in the production value chain, but also have hard time to store, transfer, transport, and sell. Further, higher gender equality in agriculture sector, especially in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, restriction on the movement of people and goods, and other measures to contain spread of the virus. The negative and gender different impact on women have become vital through dimension of food security, decreased purchase power, and diminished distribution capacity. While these are affect rural farmer in general. Women are greater disadvantaged because they have limited access to different product and market service also, such as finance and information. In Vietnam, they have many projects and programs to promote gender equality in agriculture sector. The government and organization like Union Women and Attention coordinate with our local authority to carry strengthening capacities women in rural area, access to agriculture, reduce poverty, improve income, and enhance livelihood. We carry out gender mainstream on activity, raising awareness on gender issues, share the understanding of the role and objective of gender, train the minds, develop some policy, program, or project carrying on strengthen capacity related to gender. We empower women leaders at the local level so they can actively participate in making decisions in develop processes, supporting and improve the quality of service to meet the practical and gender interests of target population both of gender. Women and ethnic minority people are took part in training courses in order to assure women right in accessing to information like land using, seed, fertilizer, pest control, and technology. Agricultural extension activity bring scientific knowledge and new production methods to farmers, improving their cultivation skill, providing finance assistance, experience, and the organization of production, changing their traditional mind and backward practice of production, which are in many farmer minds. For about the rural women have a little chance of gaining access to information, learn about the market. This cause them take many risks during selling the crop product. For example, when many women farmers are often forced by the trader to reduce price because the farmer have no market information or have little understanding of commerce. That's why they don't know well the expected standard of quality agricultural product. About their access to credit and finance, the female in rural area or ethnic minority region who wish to loan receive capital from poverty reduction program and official already sought the capital support activity for women to develop economic condition and reduce poverty through different credit channels which are designed for each target group. Agri-business opportunity, we will promote agri-business for both men and women, ensure that women don't lag behind, especially in the price value chain. They also support the woman farmer join in the cooperative to enhance income, access capital from government, ensure crop product condition through contrasting farming, and also they organize the communication workshop for the gender awareness raising for the farmer men and women. This is some of the activity Vietnam K to promote gender equality in agriculture toward agriculture sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you all. I'm going to close the third group talk All three subjects, climate change, aging, and women empowerment, are very substantial factor in rural development. So I'm pretty much impressed by you chose this subject and presenting those threes. And actually, another one is I'm pretty much impressed by your participation with the enthusiasm. So at the first time, my step, recommended me to take, actually at the first time we planned to have a conference all day long, but they said, no, it's hard to sit all day long. It might be boring. So my idea might be wrong. So, okay, I accept it. That's why we don't have any Q&A session today. So, but you might be very happy with that in your mind. But I'm pretty much impressed. So I've been trying to think about how well I can develop today's discussion paper for your academic records. So sooner or later, Uni will give you some guideline for just proceedings. But I don't know. I'm not sure at the moment, but I tried my best to join academic journals. So hopefully we can publish proceedings under the name of some KCI. You know KCI. Okay, so I'm very happy with your effort and work today. Let's have a big applause to each other. Thank you.